Hello, witches. This is Dawn, and welcome back to my channel. I have something very interesting to talk about, and it's about being vulnerable. So this is 5 ways to not be vulnerable. Okay? So let's strap in, all right? Ready? Feeling vulnerable is something we all feel. We all experience it, and it's about wanting to advance, wanting to do something, wanting to get out there, but we hold back because really what it boils down to, in my opinion, is what's everybody going to think? Am I going to be accepted? Am I going to be criticized? Am I going to receive judgment? There are a lot of people who like to criticize and judge, and it's not constructive. There is such a thing as constructive criticism, and that's good. And a lot of people who are do not have self-confidence and they feel vulnerable and they don't want to put themselves out there. And I totally, completely understand. I can completely relate to that. That is, bottom line is a lack of self-confidence. So feeling vulnerable can really be paralyzing, and it keeps me from getting myself out there, talking about my opinions, and trying to really what I try to do is avoid conflict. Really hate conflict, and I'll do whatever I can to make everybody get along and be happy. And if that means not speaking up, I am more than happy to not speak up in order to avoid that confrontation, the conflict and well, you're stupid, and well, you're dumb too, and your opinion stinks. And it's just, I can't handle that. It's disturbing to my core. I really just, I don't know. I avoid it like the plague. But sometimes I'm in a position where I need to speak up. And so my experience, the reason why I feel so uncomfortable in public places, I feel uncomfortable around people, whether I know them or not, because of this, because I feel like maybe they're judging me, or maybe I'm not doing a good enough job in communicating. Am I supposed to hug them? Am I supposed to just shake their hand? When do I do these things? And so a lot of this was learned from when I was living with my foster parents. And when I left home, I did everything in my power to push myself to talk to people that I didn't know, to get myself out there, whether I felt comfortable or not, because it was important in order to stand on my own 2 feet, to be able to communicate and ask questions, ask for directions. That was hard for me even. What time is it? That was really hard for me to ask a total stranger what time it was. It really was about what was going on inside my head. So the beliefs about myself were a lack of self-confidence, a lack of self-worth. What I really needed to learn is how to be confident and how to build up my self-worth. And anything and everything that I tried to use, tools, techniques, exercises, didn't seem to make a difference for me until I did some things in the self-mastery course. And once I learned those things turned around tremendously. And I'm going to tell you 5 ways you yourself can not be vulnerable. Because I feel for you. I know I still get those jittery feelings when I'm in public, and but now I have some exercises and tools and things that I can use to overcome that, to bring me back to the truth and the reality of who I am, and gets me to a place where if somebody doesn't accept me or doesn't agree with me and they get all upset, that it's about them. It's not about me. And these tools have just been amazing in helping me. So the first one is take your power back. When you feel vulnerable, you are basically giving your power away. You are not stepping in your confidence, in your own energy of who you are, and you're afraid of the other person. Okay, so I was teaching classes in a metaphysical shop in Cedar Rapids. It's no longer in business now. We had a couple of floods and it's gone. But while I was there, I was teaching classes, and there was a woman. Let's see, I'm gonna make sure I keep this straight. I'll call her Rose, all right? And there was another woman, I'm gonna call her Cindy. But Rose was going around telling everybody that Cindy was sleeping with their husbands, and that Cindy slept with Rose's husband. So, and I know both of them. They've both been in my classes, and I just, I don't understand. Where was this coming from? It was very strange indeed. And knowing Cindy, I know that she was just got married, and she was living in newlywed bliss. I'm going to say that. She was very in love with her husband, and I just can't see how she would have been sleeping around. So I don't believe Rose was telling the truth with these stories. There was something going on with Rose, and I don't know what was going on that was causing her or getting her to tell these stories. So Cindy told me about this, and she said that she was not going to forgive Rose until Rose apologized. All right, well, that's not going to happen. Rose is not going to apologize until she can get her own stuff straightened out, whatever is causing her to tell these stories. So what this means for Cindy is giving her control over this to Rose. Her power to feel good, regardless of what Rose is doing, is gone, is in Rose's hands. So Cindy is at the mercy of Rose, who's telling all these stories. So Cindy is actually weakening herself by holding on to this grudge. Now, I'm not saying that Cindy needs to let Rose off the hook. That's not what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about is how Cindy feels about herself, about Rose, about life in general, is now, under Rose's control, really. And it's not until Cindy can take that back that she can return to feeling good about this portion of her life. Number 2, stop playing the victim. So much of our lives is spent on blaming other people. And this is a survival technique that, if you find fault within yourself, then you're vulnerable, then you cannot take care of yourself. And then the ego is freaked out because the ego's job is to protect you. And if you feel vulnerable, then, you can't take care of yourself. And one of the ways of protecting yourself from feeling vulnerable is to say, it's out of my control. Somebody else is doing this to me. Situation is happening and it's doing this to me. There's nothing I can do. It's just the way it is. It's always been this way. It's always going to be this way. There's nothing I can do about it. I'm a victim. And then again, you lose your power, right? You don't have the power to make changes because it's all somebody else's fault or it's the situation's fault. You have to embrace within yourself that you are not a victim. You're the queen or the king of your life. You are sovereign. You can make changes. You have that power if you don't give it away. Number 3, nurture your own emotional needs. And I've mentioned this several times in all my other, not all, but a lot of my other videos. I talk about nurturing your own emotional needs. And what this does is build up your self-confidence and your self-worth tremendously, dramatically. I can't say enough about this. And this is something that needs to be practiced every day. And I notice a lot of my students, once the course is done, they stop. And then they come back to me and say, why is this happening to me? I'm stuck. What's going on? It's because they're not nurturing their own emotional needs. And what that looks like is it's a pep talk from yourself. And basically what I teach my students is visualize your higher self, your more mature self, your more advanced self, more spiritual self. And this higher self is talking to you, saying things like, Dawn, I am so glad you were born, and look at how far you've come. You're learning so much about your emotions and how to express them in a safe and balanced and healthy way, so on and so forth. So it's basically giving yourself a pep talk. It's self-talk, it's loving, it's supportive, it's nurturing. And it's what you look for in other people, like family members and a romantic partner. Nurture me, because you were not taught how to nurture your own emotional needs. And so we all do this. We all look for people to nurture our emotional needs, when in reality, you are the only person who can nurture your emotional needs. So when you look for somebody else to do it and you expect them to nurture your needs, and then because they're human and they let you down, then you become hurt, upset, angry, and your joy is gone. So nurture your own emotional needs so you don't need other people to act or behave or say or do anything to make you happy. Number 4, end your overconnectedness to other people. So what is overconnectedness to other people? Is there somebody who gets you upset? They just say something, or the way they act and behave, or the lack of courtesy, or just their personality just gets under your skin. You just want to squeeze their head until it pops, right? You just want to smack them and tell them to shut the frick up, right? Okay. Yes, maybe 1 or 2 people. It's understandable to be overconnected with people, because we have our own stuff that we're working on that we're not looking at, maybe even that we're not conscious of, and we see it in other people, and so we start to feel like, you know, you want to attack that other person, when really it's about yourself. And also about that's always bugged me, because it's not always about what's in me. It's that I see in the other person. That has not always clicked for me. And in my course, I teach you a different way of looking at that is very, very much more helpful, as far as seeing what it is that you're attacking in that other person and they are attacking you, and how to fix it. So overconnectedness is where you are plugged into that other person and you are overconnected. And what that means is that you cannot see where you end and they begin. Your boundaries are enmeshed. And so when they say something, they are encroaching on your boundaries. And it's important to protect your boundaries, okay? So the way you do that, to correct this enmeshment or this overconnectedness, is that you visualize that person, and you visualize a cord, like a power cord, is plugged into them, and you want to unplug it and plug it into your higher self, and then be absorbed by your higher self. And when you do that, you're taking your power back from that other person that you're giving away, and you're saying, I no longer am going to be affected by you. I choose not to be affected by you. And I choose not to be triggered by you. And you're taking that away from them and putting it into your higher self. And it's so important to do that. And some people, they do the cord cutting, and that's cool. This exercise seemed to help me better than cord cutting. This little technique, along with nurturing your emotional needs, will go a long way in helping you with dealing with people that you feel, you just want to pop their head. Okay, number 5, stay focused on your true self. A lot of times we get caught up in work and all of our identities that we're trying to, interact on the earth plane, and that's what identities are for. There's nothing wrong with identities. Identities are good for helping us to communicate with other people and learn lessons and all that sort of thing. And but it's important to remember, I am not my body. I am not my thoughts. I use them, but they are not me. I am a spirit being, and I know this is becoming a cliche. I'm a spirit being having a physical experience, right? Okay. So what I'm trying to say is stay focused on your path, where you are going, and how beautiful you really truly are, and how perfect you really truly are. And keep focused on that. You are a godlike being. You're here on the earth plane to experience and to learn lessons. But the most important thing is you are a God-like being. All right? You have tremendous power to overcome your obstacles in your life, to learn your lessons and become more self-confident and self-loving, and to overcome being vulnerable. So I don't feel it's important to embrace being vulnerable. I think it's important to learn from it and grow from it, to validate who you are and what you are trying to accomplish, and go forth and be strong and be in your own power. Okay, so that's it for me. I want to thank you so much for watching, and thank you for your comments, and do something today that brings you joy. Love you all. Blessed be.